For the bearish scenario, I'm going to put this line here. Then you have to be patient for price to break below 2,632.844 area like this. Then you catch it on the pullback on the 15 minutes time frame or 30 minutes time frame, and then you can trade into the bearish target, which is 2,592.817 area. Welcome back, guys. On the 15 minutes time frame, this was the moment price broke below that zone. But if you go by my analysis, we couldn't get our pullback. Price just blasted down because this is the 15 minutes time frame. Price just continued lower. So if you entered aggressively and your stop loss was above, you still would have made money. But price didn't come to our bearish target. It was a topsy-turvy week. But when price went back into the zone and broke above that zone, if you've been watching my video for a long time, you should know that you're supposed to catch it at the pullback, all right, and then buy into this upside here. But technically, our analysis last week, even though it went in our direction, failed to give us our entry. So what should we be expecting going into next week? Now I'm going back to the 4-hour time frame. So on the 4-hour time frame, after price blasted below, went back above. If you go to the smaller time frame, you will notice that retest has happened, that pullback has happened, and now price is charging to the upside. So if price continues higher, I'd like to see price come into 2,678 region. So how do we take advantage of this on the lower time frame if you are not already in this buy position? So I'll go to the 15 minutes time frame to actually analyze this. So I have two zones I'll be looking at for a buy. One will be there and one will be here. So either way, 2,652.539 area would be a good place to buy from. All right, but for me, I would like this lower one here, which is 2,645.593. But if you choose to enter here, then guys, your stop loss has to be below this line below here, which is 2,645.593. So target will be 2,678.591, which is actually a good move. Actually, if your stop loss is below here and your target is 2,678.591, that is still a good move. But for me, I'd like to see price come into 2,645.593. However, if price continues lower without giving us an entry based on your entry confirmation at letstradeNX.com, we have our entry style of confirmation. So if you don't get an entry confirmation around here and price just continues blasting to the downside, then guys, back to the 4-hour time frame, I'd like to see price break back below this 2,632.844 area, just like I said last week. Break below it, come back for a pullback, then I'll switch to a much lower time frame and sell with my target being 2,592. But I am more bullish, at least for the early part of next week, than bearish. All right, so those are the bullish and bearish scenarios on gold. Sorry if I'm a little bit off today, guys. I am actually suffering from a flu. Throughout last week, you will notice we didn't do our live session on Telegram. I was down with illness and it was a struggle last week. Actually, it even affected my trading. I only took one trade on Friday, which actually went halfway. I had to close because it was Friday, and that was about it for last week. So my last week was pretty rough. I'm just recovering, so pardon me if I'm a little bit off today, and let's continue. So the next on my list is going to be DXY. Now, DXY, do I need to replay last week's video? I think there's no need. Price was trading around here. Price is stalling. I said my target is 103.711. However, I would have loved to see price pull back into this region before taking off. And price could also continue higher. I actually said that last week, if you go back and revisit last week's video. So price did continue higher, but it's beginning to stall. Now, I added this zone around here. All right, let me put another line here for easy identification. So price may tap into the zone, then go for that pullback before we continue higher. All right. However, oh my goodness, I'm not feeling so well, man. Let me try my best to continue. So price should come into here, then give a rejection, come back for a pullback before we continue to the upside. That's what I would like to see. Is that going to happen 100%? Of course, I don't know. But with my experience in the market, that's what may most likely happen. All right, so let's go to the 4-hour time frame. You can see price is already stalling around that region. Look at how price is moving sideways, so we may come for that pullback and then before we continue higher. So I won't spend much time on DXY, guys. I will just switch to Euro USD. So what do we expect going into next week? Is a tricky one, just like it's tricky on DXY. It's also a tricky one on Euro USD. Meanwhile, let me delete these zones, delete this. So what I'd like to see going into next week is this. I'm going to give a bullish and bearish scenario. Now, price is trading around here. Price has broken below that zone. It has gone back for the retest. It may just continue pushing downwards. All right. It may just continue pushing downwards, right? Which is the best play here. But due to what I am seeing on DXY, price may continue higher. It's a tricky one. Price may continue higher. So I'm going to give 3 scenarios here, actually, guys. So if you are selling here, of course, your stop loss should be above this 1.09590 area. So price may do this in the opening section of next week before trading lower here. That's if DXY continues higher. But the chances of that happening, guys, is quite low. I don't know why I'm having a bad feeling about this. Market structure wise, this is a good play, but through experience, I could see that this could be a trap. This could be a trap. All right, you need to understand this. So if this could be a trap, then the easy way to do this is maybe I shouldn't even be doing this analysis, right? I should just ignore. But just because I want to come out here and show you what I'm looking at for the next week, I still need to do this. But I need to explain properly so that you can understand exactly how I'm going to be approaching this. So this is one play here, but another play, if price is going to go for a pullback on DXY, that means if it's going to initially sell off before we continue the bullish move, then I'd like to see what I would like to see on Euro USD is for price to break out of this 1.09762 area, break out of it. Then I'll catch it on the pullback on the 15 minutes time frame or 30 minutes time frame. My stop loss can still be below this zone. Then my take profit will be at 1.10129 before we sell off again. I hope you get the point, right? I think I've tried to explain this properly. So let's go ahead. So these are my play on Euro USD. The sell is the best play here, but with what is happening on DXY, may be a trap, right? Price may actually go bullish into this upper zone before we now sell off. All right, so watch out for that play there. So then that will be that on Euro USD. Now the next on my list is GBP USD. Go to the 4-hour time frame. How do we take advantage of this? I still expect price to make its way into 1.29856. All right. Welcome back, guys. You can see GBP USD continued lower. However, we are yet to come into our target. And if I am anticipating a pullback on Euro USD next week and DXY next week, then GBP has to follow suit, right? And if GBP goes for a pullback, then like what I did last week, I would still like to see price pull back into these regions here of 1.32377 and 1.32088. All right, before we now sell off. I'm not disputing the fact that we are not in a downtrend on Euro USD and GBP USD. However, there is always a moment for pullback, and I think the pullback may just happen anytime soon. Remember, I said this week's analysis is a bit of a tricky one. It's quite tricky, but just in case this happens, at least you already know how to prepare yourself to take advantage of the next big move. All right, so that is that on USD. On GBP USD, next on my list is USDJPY. If we go for an initial reversal before we continue bullish next week, then I would like to see price come into these areas of 146.986 and 146.103. All right, price may tap into this 149.288 before that happens. So something like this, tap here, come for the pullback before we continue higher. So welcome back, guys. You can see that price came close, though it didn't come into our pullback area before taking off into our target. And now price is stalling in around our target. So just like I've been saying on the USD pairs, if DXY is going to pull back for the initial part of next week, then this our pullback may most likely play out, right? Our pullback that we're anticipating from last week will now eventually play out properly. All right, so look out for that. Remember our overall target is 151.394 from last week's analysis. So if that pullback actually happens, right, then we can now buy from this lower point into 151.394. But if price continues higher next week, right, and breaks significantly, emphasis on significantly above 149.288, then you can catch it on the pullback on a much lower time frame, win or lose, and then buy into 151.394. Just make sure your risk management is on points. All right, then the last on my list for this week is NAS 100. For now, I am actually looking at this zone as my target for now on NAS 100, which is 20,327.3 area, right? And if you are not in this trade, I would advise you wait for price to actually pull back. If we are lucky that happens, I'd like to see price pull back into this area here. If my stop loss anywhere below, then target will be 20,327.3 area. Welcome back, guys. You can see price manipulated lower, but remember I said your stop loss can be anywhere below here, depending on that's why you need to take our mentorship program, guys. Registration is still currently on. You need to take this so that you'll be able to master our execution strategy. All right, with our execution strategy, you would have not been manipulated out of this exact point, but since you were already bullish bias, you would have taken opportunity of this trade from this lower point here. But it is what it is. With our analysis, with just our analysis, you still would have been able to take advantage of this, because remember I said your stop loss should be anywhere below here. All right, and then price took off and closed at our original target. Now going into next week, what should you be expecting? I'm going to move this line to the upside here. All right, so now we are stuck within this zones here of 20,327.3 and 20,067.7. So two things that may most likely happen is price may bounce into this 20,067.7 before we take off, or price may just continue higher next week to wait for price to break above 20,327.3 area significantly. Then we'll catch it on the pullback on a much lower time frame, like the 15 minutes, 30 minutes time frame. Then we trade into 20,787.5. All right, for bearish target, guys, you just have to sit on your hands, because NAS 100 is an uptrending indices. You already know that, right? So you have to be careful about selling below here. So for me to sell, then price has to show commitment, bearish commitment, all the way from this top here until we break below 19,375.3. right? That's the only place I'll be comfortable selling from. At least at that point, sellers are already interested, well invested in the market. So I'm going to sell only when price breaks below 19,375.3, catch it on the pullback, and then sell into 18,363.1 before we take off again. Once again, apologies for my being off a little bit in today's analysis. Is because of my health. I'm just recovering, like I'm still feeling a little bit dizzy and all of that, so bear with me. And once again, registration is on if you want to take your trading skills to the next level. If you want to sharpen your trading skills, guys, use the link in the description of this video down below, and also make sure to join our Telegram channel, because we host live sessions from time to time where you get to ask analysis on instruments that were not analyzed on our weekly videos. Thanks for staying to the end of this video. Like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye.